So, guys, man, let's go ahead and hop into some NBA talks, NBA news. So, I'm going to share my screen in a minute, but let me go ahead and prep this thing and get this thing ready. So, we're going to discuss where teams stand right now in the NBA. It's been a while since I talked to you guys, especially the NBA. So, we're going to break down what teams are looking like. We're going to talk about injuries and trade updates and trade rumors. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and share this screen. We can talk some basketball. Pretty much, I'm using ESPN. I love using ESPN for basketball. So we look at the 76ers, man. They're still in first place. They've held firm to this lead in the standings. They lost Joel Embiid, but the team is just solid, man. Danny Green has been playing so well that I'm even streaming him in fantasy right now. He's getting tons of blocks, tons of steals. In the last 10 games, they're 8-2, so they're hot right now. All right, and you got the Brooklyn Nets, who continue to find ways to win, even without KD, and Kyrie is recently out this week, so he's not going to play in the 3 games this week. So, but I guarantee you, they're going to go at least 2-1. James Harden has been really, really good. He's an MVP candidate, legit MVP candidate. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. So there's a trend here in these teams that are in the tops of the conference. You have the Milwaukee Bucks. They've turned the corner in the last 10 games. They are 9-1, and they're on a 6-game winning streak right now. So I was worried about the Bucks the last time that I did this pod, especially given the NBA update. Talked about Milwaukee and their struggles, but they seem to be doing just fine. And look at number 4. You got the Atlanta Hawks, man, the hottest team in the NBA right now with 8 straight wins. Ever since they fired their coach, they are now 8-0 under Nate McMillan. So man, give Nate McMillan his flowers, man. All he does is, he does his thing, man. So they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. You got the Miami Heat, who just made that trade recently for Trevor Ariza. I'm not really sure what Trevor Ariza brings to the table, but he's on the squad. They're 22-21 right now, 1 game over 500. That's just kind of where the East is right now. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. But who knows? Maybe they make a move in the trade deadline or even in the buyout market. They definitely need another big. Bam needs some help. He needs some help badly. Then you got the Boston Celtics, a team that's just jackal hot, man, just up and down. They're 21-21 right now. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. You got the New York Knicks, who've been pretty steady. They're 5-5 within their last 10, so they're in the middle of the pack. If they blink their eyes, they can be out the playoffs. But you never really know what happens with the New York Knicks. But it's good for NBA. It's good for the league when the New York Knicks are good. That's a big market. That's a storied franchise. So I'm happy to see them balling. Julius Randle was doing his thing, man. He should be a legit MVP candidate, even if he's the last choice. You got to give him his credit. You got to give him his flowers. He deserves it. Then you look at the Charlotte Hornets, who have been an exciting team this year, even though that they're 5-5 within their last 5, even though they're on a 3-game losing streak. What I like about the New York Hornets, I said New York Hornets. Just squash those two teams together and just create a whole new team, right? But yeah, the Hornets, man, they're 20-21 right now. They just lost LaMelo Ball indefinitely, so he's probably done for the season. But he's also have locked up that Rookie of the Year award. Everybody's saying Anthony Edwards. What's his name? D'Angelo Russell said, give the. Come on, man, D'Angelo, come on. You haven't even played since how long? You're talking about, what I'm saying, giving this award to your boy Edwards. Melo has been doing this thing. Melo came off the bench and became a starter, so he earned that job. Anthony Edwards, yeah, he is similar, but you're playing on the worst team in basketball. It just is what it is. But you got LaMelo Ball out here balling, and he's had the Hornets within that 6-8 range for most of the season. So you got to give him credit there. You got Indiana, Chicago Bulls, Toronto. These 3 teams are interesting because these 3 teams could make a move that gets them into the playoffs. Remember, this season, 9 teams are in the hunt. The last 2 teams, the 8th and the 9th seed, do that little play-in matchup, play-in round of the playoffs, to where if whoever that wins that game, you have to win, 2 games in a row, or win best 2 out of 3, pretty much. to go ahead and secure that eighth spot. So that's a cool little wrinkle that the NBA has added, and I'm excited for it. You look at teams like Cleveland. I don't think Cleveland does anything. Washington is the most. Um, how can I put it? Washington has just been a disappointment this year. I mean, when you have Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook, you would figure that this team would at least have 20 wins by now, but we'll see what happens. I don't see Washington making any moves. Detroit and Orlando are going to be the bottom of the barrel. Aaron Gordon has officially put in his request to get traded, so we'll see where he gets traded this deadline. So we're done with the East. Let's go ahead and drop into the Western Conference. You got the Utah Jazz, who led the year for the most part at 30-11. Donovan Mitchell is playing good ball. They play very good defense and they score a lot of points. But here's the thing. Here's the flip side. In the last 10 games, they're 5-5. So that mighty Utah Jazz team that they had is not as good as it was. All right. You got the Phoenix Suns, who are playing pretty good ball. They're playing. They're at 28-13. But I'm going to talk about what happens to the Jazz and the Suns before I end this podcast. So remember those two names. You got the Lakers, who just lost LeBron James. They don't have AD. So at least for the next 3 weeks, we're going to see what life is like for the Lakers without LeBron and AD. Without AD, I believe they're like 7-8. And who knows what they're going to look like without AD and LeBron. I mean, they're going to have to at least win 40% of their games to have a chance of staying within the top four. I think if the Lakers bottom out, I mean, if they get to a seventh seed or eighth seed, Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns don't want to see a healthy LeBron and AD led team. So don't be surprised if you see Phoenix start to slide a little bit to number 3 or number 4, because that might be where you want to be. I don't think you want to be a number 1 or number 2 seed having to face the Lakers in the first round. But I'm going to just go ahead and leave it at that. You got the Clippers, who've been disappointing this season. They've been up and down. I mean, they have no excuses. For the most part, they've been healthy. They have a 4-6 record in the last 10. Um, there's no excuses. There's no excuses. I don't know what's going on with the Clippers, but it's not looking good. You got Denver, who's up and down as well. But in the last 10 games, they've been doing pretty well. They've been 8-2 the last 10 games. I believe they lost maybe yesterday to the New Orleans Pelicans, who New Orleans Pelicans can play some ball. It's just putting it all together. And I think that they trade Lonzo Ball this week. They're going to trade Lonzo Ball this week. Then you look at the Portland Trailblazers. That's a team that you really do not want to play in the first round. Dame Lillard has been doing this thing. He's been carrying his team. He's a legit MVP candidate. Really, he should be the MVP this season because he's been healthy. You can't give it to LeBron or even Joel Embiid, even though that those guys are deserving. But you got to give it to a guy like Dame Lillard, who's been with Portland forever, his whole career, and he just carries his team. He carries his team. Doesn't matter who is in or out of his lineup. He continues to do his thing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to the Portland Trailblazers as they continue to get healthy. CJ McCullough is back. And the last 10 games, they're 7-3. I like to look at the 10-game sample size because it kind of tells you where a team is going, whether they're trending up or whether they're trending down or right in the middle. You look at a team like the San Antonio Spurs, they're 22-17. I don't even know how they're winning games, to be honest. I don't even know how they are in the seventh seed right now when there are teams that are below them that are better. Like, I think Dallas Mavericks are a better team than the Spurs. LaMarcus Aldridge is going to get traded or bought out, so we'll see what happens there. We'll see where LaMarcus ends up. So with San Antonio being a team that might even lose some pieces, I just don't see them sustaining success enough to win or even make the playoffs. They might end up ninth seed doing a play-in tournament to get in, but we'll see what happens. Dallas is, they're up and down, but they've been more up and down. They're 7-3 right now in their last 10 games. Golden State is just falling off, man. The injuries just continue to pile up. I know Steph Curry has missed the last 2 or 3 games. They're now 22-21. That's another dangerous team. So teams 7-12 are going to be teams that are going to be like, one game in, one game out. The Grizzlies, they've just been up and down. They're just solid. They're 5-5 within their last 10 games. And that just explains it right there. John Moran is balling. They have a lot of young pieces that are doing their thing. So we'll see if some of these bottom teams end up making a trade that's going to benefit them and put them in position to make the playoffs. You have the OKC Thunder. They're just solid, man. They're just solid. They're just always in the middle of the pack. They win some, they lose some. They're 5-5 within their last 10 games, as well as the Sacramento Kings. They're 5-5 within their last 10. Sacramento has no excuses. They got to fire that coach. I don't know how Luke Walton still has a job. Luke Walton is terrible. He's a terrible coach. He was on the Lakers. I'm a big Lakers fan, and I cannot stand Luke Walton on the Lakers. So Houston Rockets, man, these guys are 0-10 within their last 10, but they're really 0-20 within their last 20. The Houston Rockets are on a 20-game losing streak. That's crazy. That's crazy. That means they were 11-10 and they were decent at that point, and now they just lost 20 straight games. John Wall has been in and out the lineup. Daniel House, DeMarcus Cousins was waived. He's going to join the team shortly. Oladipo wants out. He just says that he doesn't want to be in Houston, so he's definitely a name to watch out for in the trade deadline. Then you got Minnesota at 10-32. D'Lo D'Lo and Cat has just not been a good pairing. They just cannot stay healthy, or things have happened in their lives that to where they can't play basketball together. So maybe you move Cat and just start all over. Maybe you move D'Lo. You definitely got to move D'Lo and just start all over. I mean, when it's time for Cat to go, Cat is gone. So that's my breakdown for the East. That's my breakdown for the West. I'll be back in a week or two to give you guys another update. Let's see what the landscape of the NBA looks like by then. Maybe by that time the Lakers are a sixth or seventh seed. I don't know. Maybe by that time Drummond is on the Lakers. I don't know. So there's gonna be lots of fun, lots of buzz. I might even be back. I might even be back within the next 2 to 3 days after all these trades go down, and then talk about what the NBA landscape looks like then. So, guys, this is the episode. This is the podcast. This is Talking Sports with Manny. Be sure to follow me on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe, like, and turn on your notification bell so you guys can get this content when I drop it. Also, be sure to follow me on IG and Twitter. Handle TS with Manny. I'm out. Love y'all. Peace.